You are now tuned in to the In Those Jeans limited series, dedicated to the 16-year-old version of me who was fighting to feel good in her own body. In 2 months, I'll be turning twice her age, so I figured as a gift from me to her, why not heal her for good? Okay. I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this, but not everything that you eat needs to taste amazing. And you can still do things when you're not in the mood. Now, if any of that felt criminally offensive to you, then this video is literally exactly for you. Like literally hold my hand and sit down. This video is gonna change your life. And it's how practicing detachment and stoicism, specifically on a weight loss journey, is literally the quickest and most sustainable way to get you the results that you're looking for. And by the end of this video, I'm gonna go through my 5 rules that I'm applying right now that have helped me lose over 15 pounds and counting and are leading me right on track to fitting in my jeans by mid-October, aka my birthday. And if you're new here, my name is Rima, your tough loving big sis who takes her own advice, and you are officially tuned in to episode 2 of the In Those Jeans series, where I'm on a mission to heal my 16-year-old self, literally half of my life ago, by my 32nd birthday. This is just so much deeper than an expensive pair of jeans that don't fit me right now. So if you want kind of the backstory on this challenge and this limited series, definitely go back and watch episode 1. Today's conversation is actually inspired by my oldest brother. Watching him on his health journey / weight loss journey really ingrained this, at the time, very foreign idea of detachment and stoicism in me. The background that I did talk about in episode 1 was that I spent at this point over half of my life trying to lose weight, trying and failing and losing the weight and then not maintaining it and then gaining it back. And with every time that I had gained the weight back, it seemed like I had also gained back so much more emotional baggage on top of the extra pounds. After year 10 of me trying and failing, it felt like I had this exponential amount of emotional baggage and cloudedness around this idea of losing weight. And what that really was just a lack of self-trust and a fear of failure. And anytime I would start losing weight, instead of feeling excited and grateful that I'm on track towards my goals, I would genuinely feel like I have built this thing that I'm scared is going to crumble down. Like I would feel negative emotions when I was successful because I didn't trust myself enough to maintain it. If that sounds like you, if you feel all of this emotional baggage around your body, around food, around weight loss, around going to the gym, you need some stoicism in your life. You need some detachment in your life because that is going to help you actually persevere towards those goals, and more importantly, become someone who trusts yourself to do whatever it is that you set your mind to. I stayed with my brother for a couple of months in 2021. It was such a life-changing time for me because it was around the time that he also decided to prioritize his health. He'd also gone through kind of ebbs and flows in his weight. Something just kind of shifted where he wanted to double down. I have never seen somebody so low-key robotic about something that was so emotional for me. He would have to take progress photos. So he'd literally roll out of bed on a Saturday or Sunday and hand me his phone and be like, can you take these photos for me? And he would just be there half awake doing his front profile and his back profile. And there would be no baggage. There would be no emotions. He would just be doing it. One night, I will never, ever, ever, ever forget this night because it was the most gross thing ever. But we were out. We literally were out enjoying Dubai's nightlife. And we came home at 1 or 2 in the morning and he's like, oh shit, I forgot to make a protein shake. He goes to the kitchen and throws a scoop and a half or whatever of the whey protein in water, shakes it up in a little shaker bottle, literally lays in bed and drinks this nasty water concoction protein shake right before he goes to sleep and then knocks out. And I just remember looking that literally looks terrible. On every level, it doesn't look like it tastes good. You didn't look like you were in the mood for it. You were doing it out of necessity and not out of craving anything. The way that I'm even talking about it now just goes to show you how much baggage and emotions I had towards every single part of eating or health or weight loss. In my mind, you don't eat something unless you're craving it. In my mind, you don't drink a protein shake unless it tastes really good and you were able to add the banana and the cinnamon and the whatever to it. Don't get me wrong. All of that stuff is great. I'm not telling you not to do that. But as we go through this video, you'll understand that part of being detached and stoic is understanding that you have a goal and not every single action that you take towards that goal needs to be something that is pleasurable. It just needs to be practical. And so he has a protein goal that was imperative for him to hit every single day. And especially on a day where he spent a night out and maybe wasn't consuming the best calories, he knew it was extremely important to get that extra 40 grams of protein to round him out for that day. And so when I was watching him, I didn't know whether to be like grossed out or inspired, but I remember getting into an interesting conversation where he said, I don't have to love everything I eat. That offended me. Like when I say it offended me, I mean I was angry about that. And it's because I didn't want to believe that that had to be true in order for me to reach my goals. And I am standing here, sitting here a couple of years later telling you that me embracing this mindset that not everything along this journey has to be pleasurable. In fact, some of the things are going to be painful in the moment. Now, I'm not telling anybody to go cook up some chicken with no seasoning. That is not what I'm saying. Notice I didn't say that food has to be disgusting in order for you to lose weight. It does not have to be disgusting. Just on the scale of like, I'm salivating to this is disgusting and bland and unseasoned and uncultured, it can be like at a 60% or even a 70% and sometimes even an 80%, right? Where you love it and it tastes so good, but it might not be a Chick-fil-A spicy chicken sandwich every day. It definitely can't be a Chick-fil-A spicy chicken sandwich every day. So that's kind of the theme of today's conversation. And I do dedicate it to my older brother, Mac, who taught me that you just don't have to let your emotions drive you on this journey. In fact, when you're able to deprioritize instant gratification for more long-term gratification, you end up so much happier and you end up just trusting yourself so much more. So stick around to the end of this video where I will get into more tactical tools on exactly how I am applying stoicism and detachment to my weight loss journey today. But before we get to that, I'm gonna go try these jeans on so we can see how I've progressed since last week. So meet me in my bathroom.
Keep running back to you. See, my days are cold without you. I'm hurting while I'm with you. And all my heart can't take no more. I won't keep running back to you.
Here's another one. Here's another one. Here's another one. Here's another one.
Think I found my strength to finally get up and leave. No more broken heart for me. No more telling you lies to me.
Here's another one.
Looking like I got my head on right, so now I see. No more giving you everything. There's no more taking my love from me. See, my days are cold without you, but I'm hurting while I'm with you. And though my heart can't take no more, I can't keep running back to you. See, my days are cold without you, but I'm
So you just saw my measurements. The one that should have stuck out to you the most was that I have dropped 1.25 inches off of my belly. What did I tell you guys in the last video? My love handles / belly area is going to be where I see the most results. And I literally manifested that because I don't think anything else really changed, which makes sense. It's been a week. But that is one area that I just know, like as soon as I double down and just focus on high protein meals and hitting my 5 workouts a week, I will transform my belly area because that's the area where there's the most to transform. But either way, I'm so proud of myself. This top, by the way, cute little aloe top, I've had in my drawers for over a year. And it's like the first time I've pulled it out and wore it because I never felt confident in it before. I felt like it was way too tight and cinched. And it wasn't flattering. And now I'm starting to feel great in it. So that in itself, like just feeling how your clothes fit is exactly why I'm doing this challenge, because I genuinely think it's such a better measure of progress week by week or month by month than getting on that dang scale, which we'll talk about later. Let's get into our conversation about last week and how things went, as well as some of my intentions for the upcoming week. The biggest goal that I had last week was, and it says right here, make dinner at home 4 to 5 times a week. I did make dinner at home 4 times a week, but in my head and even on my whiteboard in my bathroom, I wrote 5 times a week. Honestly, I'm gonna just go ahead and say it. I did not meet my goal for last week when it came to making high protein dinners 5 times a week. One of the biggest challenges that we've had that I told you about in last video is that while we work out very consistently, we also eat out very consistently, whether that be going to a restaurant or mostly ordering in. Like we have a habit of ordering in Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. And when I did the math, I'm like, girl, that is almost 50% of your week. What are you doing? You need to get it together. And so last week I was on track because we cooked on Monday night. I had a plan to cook Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday, I knew we couldn't because we had Ahmed's movie screening. So I knew we weren't going to be able to cook, but I knew Saturday that I would. What happened was on Tuesday, I had a doctor's appointment and we ended up getting home so much later. And so we're like, let's just eat out at our favorite sushi spot called Kazunori. I will say it's a pretty high protein, like balanced macro meal, but it wasn't me making dinner at home. That being said, I did hit the gym 5 times last week. So we hit that goal and I'm really happy about it. Today is one of those days where I really don't feel like it. I really don't feel like it. But here we go. But yeah, it's been really fun experimenting at home with food. I didn't really grow up cooking like that. And when I went to college and I was cooking for myself, I would just put the same couple things in rotation because that's just how I am. But Ahmed gets really bored by eating the same thing every day. So I've been like switching it up and also trying to be intentional about getting in different types of protein. The plot twist for this week is we unexpectedly, very spontaneously decided to book a trip to Minneapolis, Minnesota. By the time you watch this, I will already be there. As soon as I knew that we were going there, I started signing up for workouts here on days that I would usually rest. Because I know whenever we're traveling or with family, you plan on doing certain things and sometimes you just want to have quality time or you just want to chill a little bit more. So in order to preempt that, I made sure to book a Monday class at F45. So by the time I get to Minnesota, I would have already worked out 4 of my 5 times. I just need to trust myself enough to know that that weekend I will get at least 1 workout in, which I will. Now, the part where it gets a little tricky is the dinners 5 times a week. We're going to the Minnesota State Fair, which is apparently supposed to have the best cookies and the best fries, and those are literally my 2 weaknesses. So instead of doing a cheat meal on Friday like I normally do, I will be doing a cheat meal on Sunday just because, let's be so for real, if I do a cheat meal on Friday, we're going on Sunday. There is not a chance in the world I'm about to be at this state fair that I've never been to with fries that I've never tried and cookies that I've never tried that everyone keeps talking about and not eating it. We'll get into this a lot more with my 5 rules, but it's like, just know yourself. I freaking love cookies. I love fries. So instead of trying to like lie about the fact that I love cookies and I love fries, I'm going to take a more pragmatic approach and be like, all right, girl, Sunday, go in, have fun, have your cookies, have your fries. But just understand that like, it ain't a cheat meal if you're doing it multiple times a week. Let that be your cheat meal. And then let Friday be a day where you're more restricted within your calories. And that's okay. You don't need to feel shame around that. You're allowing yourself to indulge and do what you want by creating a little bit more structure. I trust myself so much to make those sacrifices so that I can have more flexibility in the things that are the most important to me. So yeah, I'll be documenting not just the state fair, but also my brother-in-law, who we call the Tasmanian Devil. I'll be documenting next week how I'm swerving him left and right. I'm putting that out there now. But last week, the snitch cam has a lot to tell you. The funniest thing happened. So we ordered from Taco Bell, which I haven't eaten in a minute. And then on top of that, there's this place called Randy's Donuts that is an LA thing that I had never tried before. So I'm like, let me surprise Ahmed. It's our cheat meal. Let me just get on Postmates, order from Randy's Donuts. So I was trying to order the donuts really fast because I'm like, I don't want him to see that I'm doing it. And I see original glaze. I'm like, okay, cool, that's what everyone says to order. But then I see Texas glaze and I'm like, wow, what's that? We pick up the donuts. And when I tell you everything is bigger in Texas has never rung more true, because that was the biggest donut I have ever seen in my life. It was huge. It was crazy. I was not expecting that at all. And guess what? I ate the whole thing. Okay. Do I regret it? No. But I will say I worked my ass off this past week and I don't know that I will do it again. But anyway, that's the snitch cam for this week. I want to be super for real with you guys. So we have incorporated the snitch cam for fun as a way to keep me accountable, but also as a way to show you that like you can have fun and indulge on this journey as long as you are being calculated and strategic about it. Let's get into the 5 rules to practice stoicism and detachment in my my weight loss journey. My love, these rules are literally law. Like, I need you to tattoo them somewhere on your body or write them down, whichever you prefer. But I am so serious when I say that if I had known these and actually applied them, I would have gained back 16 years of my life that I actually spent agonizing about my body. I have spent several family vacations feeling not present because I was so focused on how my body would look in a bikini. Honestly, I don't look back and feel sad because I'm doing something about it now, and that's on stoicism and detachment. But I will say, if I could go back, yeah, I would love to reclaim those moments. And that's really why I'm making this series, is to reclaim those moments for myself, but also to help you reclaim them as well. I want you to learn from my mistakes because they are 16 years in the making. Okay? Okay. First things first, I want you to reframe your weight loss journey. For the longest time, I would write in all of my journals and all of my planners, and I still have them, saying like, by October 2016, I want to reach a size 6 in jeans. And then that 2016 would turn into 2018 and 2019. All of these different years of me having the same goal. And I would always get around 80% progress towards that goal and then just kind of backtrack and gain even more weight than the time before. Instead of looking at that as, wow, look at how you keep trying, I would look back on those journals up until recently. I would look back on those journals and feel this like silent shame of like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. I've been trying to do this for my whole life. And I even remember talking to a therapist about it. And I was like, I'm so smart and so accomplished and I'm so educated. And really, this is the thing that's stumping me. I've been through a lot in life. I've gone through grief. I've gone through toxic relationships. And this is the thing that's getting the best of me. Like, I would literally look at it like this thing that won, like it already beat me. And I would feel so much self-judgment and shame around the fact that I couldn't, quote unquote, couldn't get past this thing. I don't remember what changed, but there was like a random day recently. I had this thought enter my brain of, it's kind of amazing that you haven't given up. I took that thought and I freaking ran with it because I'm like, that is amazing. Imagine trying at something and quote unquote failing for 16 years and still waking up and having the motivation or even the self-trust to try again. Like, I feel emotional even saying that out loud because all along I felt like this whole thing was making me lose self-trust, lose self-respect. When in reality, regardless if it was making me lose little bits of self-trust and self-respect, I still had enough to bet on myself. Even if I had gained all the weight back 10 times over, even if my clothes weren't fitting me all over again, I still had enough self-trust and self-respect to demand differently for myself. And I want you to also reframe that story. Because listen, if someone came up to you and told you, hey, so after 16 years of trying to start this business, and failing and embarrassing myself and falling flat on my face and going bankrupt, we now have completely reached a multi-million-dollar level status and we are just more successful than ever. You would be so proud of that. Not just because of the number, but because the context. You would be proud of their success because they just told you they spent 16 years failing. Had they just come up to you and been like, yeah, we have a multi-million-dollar level business, I mean, yeah, you might be a little impressed. You would not be nearly as impressed as you would be hearing the fact that they fell flat on their face publicly in front of people over and over and over again. So I need you to look at your story the same exact way. And I need you to look at it like that now. Okay, do not wait until your success comes because I promise you, not only will you probably not reach that place if you're not reframing your story now, but even if you did reach that place, you would not see it that way because your attachment to failure and self-judgment would make you rewrite that success story as another failure story. Trust me, I know. Which leads us to rule number 2. If I could go back and tell 16-year-old me one thing and just one thing, it would be to give herself permission to feel good about herself right there and then. Since I can't go back and talk to her, I'm telling you, my love, feel good right now. You don't have to lose 30 pounds to give yourself permission to feel like that girl. I had this misconception subconsciously, I don't even think I was aware of it, that I had to punish myself into success. That the only way to get to the body was to punish my old body into my new body. And honestly, that doesn't even make sense. Like, if the goal is to feel good in my body, how am I ever going to get that by feeling like shit along the way. What ended up happening, I talked about this a little bit last episode, is that I ended up losing the weight several times and I never felt good. And I don't even think in those moments, actually, I know that in those moments, I didn't even realize I had lost the weight. I wouldn't let myself see it that way. It's kind of like what I just finished saying from rule number 1. I reframed that story with the lens that I had been approaching the journey with, which is self-judgment. And so when I reached that goal, I didn't see it as reaching that goal. I saw it as I'm still not cute and I'm still not attractive. And I just would not allow myself to feel desirable or attractive or beautiful. And now that I am losing the weight, I realize it's because when I was 15 pounds heavier, I allowed myself to feel desirable and attractive and beautiful, even and especially on days where I didn't fully believe it. I'm not telling you to lie to yourself. I think Delulu is a Salulu is cute, and sometimes it works, don't get me wrong, but sometimes it doesn't work. Like for me personally, body positivity is an amazing movement that just didn't work for me. It just didn't. Like I tried and it just didn't. I couldn't feel body positive necessarily. Like I wasn't about to lie and be like, I look great in this bikini, because that's just not, the person in the mirror was like, girl, no, you don't wear that. That's what she was saying. But what I did do to hack it is find things that made me feel good. It sounds like such common sense, but it freaking transformed everything for me. I went shopping through the lens on my 30th birthday of what clothes feel good in this body. And it was such a healing, transformational exercise for me because a few things happened. It allowed me to move out of this self-punishing state of this body does not deserve clothes. Only buy clothes for the body you want. That's how I used to think, which I know a lot of you think that way. And it took me a really, really long time to realize like, it's okay. If you buy clothes for this version of your body, that doesn't mean you're stuck here. It just means that you acknowledge where you are, and you also acknowledge that this version of you that you are trying to change also deserves love and respect. I want you to think about that. When you do not buy things that fit this body, you are reinforcing the idea that this version of you does not deserve love or respect. That makes me very emotional to say out loud because you're not going to get to a place where you feel good about yourself if you're disrespecting where you are right now. You don't have to accept it. I think that's the part about body positivity that just didn't sit well with me. You don't have to accept and settle, quote unquote, if this is not what you want. But you can still treat this version of you with the respect and love that it definitely deserves and requires of you. So buying those clothes allowed me to honor that, but it also just very simply allowed me to feel good every day. Every day I would go in my closet and still to this day put things on that felt really good. I told you guys about this top at the beginning of this video, and this top just didn't feel good on me. So I just didn't wear it. I'm like, I don't need to wear something that doesn't make me feel good. But here I am today. I tried it on and I'm like, I'm cutesy. Not going to say demure. Don't worry. I'm not going to say it. But I just can't say it. I don't know. Something about it bothers me. But anyway, the top looks really cute on me and I feel good in it. Therefore, I will wear it. So I want you to buy things that feel good. If you have a trip on the beach coming up, try on bathing suits. It doesn't have to be a bikini if that doesn't feel good for you. I've gotten very comfortable in certain one pieces that look really flattering on my body. Give yourself the respect that you deserve by taking the time to find things that make you feel good right now. Rule number 3, amplify the excitement and starve the doubt. Let's talk about why I don't weigh myself. On this journey of stoicism and detachment, I'm not telling you that if you feel emotions, then you suck. What I'm telling you is where there's an emotional charge, you need to look for that. Think of like a heat map. Assess the areas of your health and fitness and body image journey that have the most charge to them. And the areas that are kind of orange or red, I want you to figure out how to just bypass those completely. For me, I was trying to lose weight while getting on the scale every single week. And before we even talk about getting on the scale, the amount of stress that went into planning for my weight check-in, like planning for that was crazy. Like I had a whole routine where the night before I could not have a heavy dinner. And if I did end up having a heavy dinner, I would not weigh myself the next day. I would wait for like a day after or something. In the morning, I would have to use the bathroom. Like I would not get on the scale without using the bathroom because I kind of already knew that the number was going to throw me off so much if I didn't like it. So I was trying to protect myself so much from what that number said. There were times where I would get on the scale after doing all that and I would like the number number, aka it would go down by anything. If it went down by anything, my whole day was made. And that alone should tell you something. If a freaking number on a stupid little device can make or break your day, we'll get into the break in a second because that happened way more often than not, then there's a lot of emotional charge there. It doesn't just have to be negative emotions. Pay attention to where your positive emotions are very charged. And I want you to look at that too. So again, when I was losing a little bit on the scale, I would just be so happy. The days where I would gain, even if it was like 0.2 pounds, it would drive me into this spiral of negative thoughts. And it would make me start questioning myself. I would start thinking if I'm doing something wrong. I would start thinking if my body, there's just something wrong with it. The lack of logic in the thoughts that spiraled after would throw me off to the point where I would just like not be consistent anymore because I would think nothing mattered and nothing is gonna work. I got to a point where I'm like, if weighing myself is making me feel bad and is throwing me off, then how is that possibly contributing to my weight loss journey? It's not. So I'm just not going to weigh myself. My measurements, like all of my measurements last week were the same. I didn't care. Even my belly, I was happy about that because it just reflects what I know I already did. But it wasn't the feeling in the charge that I would feel when I lost pounds. It was a very practical level of, I did these things and it led to this thing, and it feels very controlled and logical and stoic. The scale just felt like this unpredictable thing, and I didn't even really understand which levers led to that result. So I just was giving it so much power. And anyone who knows anything about body composition, especially when it comes to women, is that the scale is just not the best measurement of anything. I had this idea for this series about a year ago. And the reason I chose not to do it or not to document my journey publicly is because it felt too charged. It felt too nerve-wracking. I felt too afraid to fail publicly. So I deliberately waited months and months and months till I could get to a point where, let's say October 16th rolls around, my birthday, and I don't fit in the jeans. I genuinely don't care. Would it be way more fun and cool to be able to say I was going to do it and do it? Yeah. But like, I know I'm going to do it. So whether it happens on October 16th or November 16th, I literally don't care. Like I'm not afraid of showing up on October 16th and saying that the jeans don't fit yet. And I think that's the level of detachment and stoicism that lets me know that I'm having a healthy relationship to something. So I want you to think about what excites you. Like, this series is exciting. It's so much fun. The idea of doing it before my birthday feels so fun. But it doesn't feel like this tightrope that I'm walking on where when things are going well, I'm feeling good. But then when they're not, I'm just falling off and like dying. Okay. Think about certain types of workouts at the gym. Going to the gym in front of people just feels too stressful. Are you better off and more stoic around home workouts that burn the same amount of calories? When it comes to tracking calories, I know that's a huge one. I don't feel emotional charge around that. I don't feel like tracking calories has a toxic relationship to me. I don't feel like measuring my body I don't have a toxic relationship with that. I personally do not have a toxic relationship with food or food noise. But if you do, then that's something to pay attention to and find a way around. You cannot punish yourself on this journey. So stoicism is all about trying to reach neutrality around certain things and trying to find a way to identify the areas that are too charged and allow yourself the space to work on those in silence. Like, I know for a fact there will be a day where I don't feel charged around getting on the scale. Just like with this video though, I'm not gonna force myself to do something while I still feel a lot of emotional charge around it. I'm going to work on what I need to work on and put my head down. And then the day I decide the scale and I have a healthy relationship, I will re-engage the girl. Rule number 4 is to aspire to neutrality. And this builds directly from what we were just talking about. I want to read you a list that I've compiled of things that do not currently feel neutral to me. Dressing rooms, the scale, like I said, the beach and being in a bikini specifically. The whole season of summer currently does not feel very neutral to me. The things that do feel very neutral to me are calories, working out, once a week cheat meals, eating unhealthy things within my calories also feels very neutral to me. Working out like crazy the day after a cheat meal feels very neutral to me. And the reason I'm listing out these things is because I think a lot of times in our conversations about weight, a lot of us try to impose on other people what triggers us. People have talked to me about calorie counting and been like, that's toxic. And it's like, girl, if it's toxic for you, that's fine. However, don't tell me not to track my calories. I don't have a problem with it. If I decided to eat a donut the size of my freaking ass one night, and then the next day wake up and do a 1 hour workout where I'm just sweating my ass off, and that feels good to me, then that's okay. That might be toxic to you because you feel that you're punishing yourself, but I don't feel that I'm punishing myself. I feel that I earned my pleasure, and that feels really good to me. But then again, there are going to be some things that other people might not understand that are toxic for you. So for me, going to the beach, even to this day, in a bikini or even in a one piece, I do it, especially when my family's involved. But like Ahmed will ask me, why don't you ever come down to the pool with me? We have a pool on the 5th floor. And as of right now, I don't feel neutral about that. Like, will I do it? Here and there, yes, because I really want to be present in my life. But I'll also honor the fact that as of right now, I don't feel neutral about that. I feel very emotionally charged. It is very, very important to protect your energy on this journey. Once again, stoicism and detachment can only happen if you are identifying the things that allow you to maintain that energy. I'm able to be detached on this journey throughout the week because I know I don't have a scale weigh in at the end of the week. If I had a scale weigh-in at the end of the week, that freaking fat ass donut would be haunting me every single day, and it would put me in this energy of not feeling in control. That's why it's so important to aspire to the neutral things like measuring myself so that I can have more neutral, balanced feelings throughout the week so that my emotions don't come pouring in and just like sinking this ship that I'm on. That was the thing that my brother taught me just by watching him, is the things that felt neutral to him, he did. It felt very neutral to him to lay in his bed and drink a protein shake. It felt very neutral to him to, choose certain meals every day that maybe weren't the most tasty meals ever, but tasted good enough. At the time, the reason that pissed me off is because I felt that was a punishment. And so I wasn't ready at that point to just focus on macros in every single meal because that felt like I was punishing myself. So I took little baby steps towards eating higher protein meals. And now I'm at a place where I don't feel that I'm punishing myself at all. It feels very neutral for me to be so intentional about the protein to calorie ratio in every meal. If that doesn't feel very neutral to you, then just start with hitting your protein goal or choosing a healthier option when you go out to eat, or even focusing on your portion sizes. Identify the areas where you can still have that feeling of balance and neutrality, and try your best to maintain that throughout your journey, because that is the energy that's going to lead to results. Rule number 5, feed the right wolf. There is this whole thing about like the 2 wolves that you're feeding every day. It's this whole idea of like every single day you can wake up, especially when you're in transition like this, especially when there is this gap between who you are today and who you want to become. Every single day is a matter of which wolf or which identity are you going to feed. And so I want you to wake up every single day and as many opportunities as you can to feed the right wolf, or feed or invest in the right identity. I want you to do that because really this is all identity work. The reason that I was losing weight and, getting to my goal body, but not feeling like the person who had my goal body is because I had not approached it through who is that person? What is her identity? And so I quite literally inhabited a different body with the same mindset of the old body. So I genuinely didn't even realize I was in the new body. Whereas right now, as crazy as it is, I was 15 pounds heavier, feeling like the girl with the best body in the world. And obviously I did that because I found clothes that made me feel good and I aspired to neutrality, right? I wasn't out here in bikinis trying to lie to myself saying I feel like I have the best body in the world. I just wanted to put that there in case you're like me and that doesn't work. But I was pursuing the things every single day that fed the identity of the girl who feels sexy, who feels healthy, who feels fit, who feels strong. And to this day, that is the filter that I'm using. What is the person who feels strong and sexy and healthy and in control? What is she doing right now? She is eating a fat ass donut. I keep coming back to this donut because it's just such a funny visual. But like, she is eating this donut because the version of me who feels in control will succumb to her cravings once a week because that's okay. It's not going to throw her off course. Part of having a sustainable, healthy lifestyle is doing things occasionally that are not healthy. Like, as ironic as that sounds, that's healthy, for me. The girl who is in the body that I want is someone who is not afraid to eat the cake or eat the cookie here and there, right? So I'm going to do that now. But that girl is also going to get her ass in the gym the next day, just like I did, and burn it off. The version of me who's in control and strong and healthy, it's just automatic. Like, her workouts are scheduled. They're a part of her life. She doesn't have to be in the mood. That's just who she is. She wakes up and works out. She finds balance. Like, that is the wolf that I'm feeding. So I want you to identify. Yours is going to look different. Even if physically, you have a certain number in mind for your body goal, the mindset of that person is equally, if not even more important to visualize. I know a lot of us have Pinterest boards, myself included, of the types of bodies that we are aspiring to. But I also want you to think about the mindset of the woman in that body or the person in that body. There's no shortage of people who look quote unquote good by whatever our standards are, who don't feel good. And I know you don't want to look good and not feel good. I know the whole purpose of you wanting to look good is because you think it'll make you feel better. And so all I'm asking of you is that today, literally right now, I want you to visualize how that person feels and find ways to inject yourself with that feeling state every single day. That is really the trick. That is really the whole plot twist to all of this, is that you do not have to wait to inhabit a different body or to fit into a different gene size to feel like the person who already does. And as a matter of fact, it's that emotional and spiritual state that's going to lead to that physical state and not the other way around. It is not the physical state that's going to unlock this emotion that you think is waiting in that body. It's the emotion that you can literally unlock right now as you're listening to this video that is going to then transform into every physical manifestation of that, not just in your body, but in your energy, in the things that you attract in your life, in the ways that you're feeling around people that you love, in the new relationships that are going to come into your life. I hope you join me on this journey. What you can expect in all of the episodes coming up are just more conversations like this, how to protect your peace in your process, especially next week when I'm going to visit my brother-in-law. I'm going to be talking through just kind of how to go about this journey when you have outside influences and other things going on, like family or even your partner. I'm also going to be getting into conversations about health in general and how I've redefined that with age. You can see some of my little gray hairs popping over here. But on a serious note, I love you so much. I'm so grateful to have you here in this series with me. I will not ask you to like or subscribe because I know you hear that more than enough. But what I will say is, if you enjoyed this, bring a friend with you next time. Let's leave people even more powerful than we found them. I love you so much, and I will see you on the next one.